Hi, I'm Lou Sitzer, host and manager of Nevada County Television, welcoming you to this really historic program. We have with us today Mike Miller, President and CEO of the original 16:1 mine in Allegheny, California. This collection has never been assembled as in the past. I mean, this is the first time it's been on view, so to speak. And so, Mike, please tell us a little bit about yourself and the 16:1 mine. Mike and I have known each other for about 25 years. Our kids grew up together, but the 16:1 mine goes back way beyond that.
Yeah, fortunately, it goes back to, if you combine both of our ages, the mine would go back to the 1850s, one of the mines called the Rainbow, which the company owns. And the corporation itself dates back to 1896. It was actually incorporated in 1911, so it's now, in this day and age, it's the oldest American gold mining company.
And it's also been in operation for a long time. I mean, running.
It was. The only mine that came close was Homestake Mine in South Dakota. This is one of the few mines that worked during World War II and after World War II, and it finally had a little bit of a hiatus after 1965, when some of the local miners that had been living in Allegheny had small leases, and they worked it until from about 1968 until 1972, when a series of other lessees took over and ran it for a period of time. And in 1991, our company, the one that I'm president over, bought all of the assets back, and we've been operating it under the same name.
We are seeing a resurgence in interest in gold mining. The Idaho, Maryland is looking at reopening. But we actually have some video that shows us what the 16:1 mine looks like. So let's see if we can go to that video, and Mike, you can talk us through what we're seeing.
Oh, I'd be happy to. I haven't seen a video for a long time. It looks to me like we're going into one of the 800 drain tunnel levels and running across a couple of miners that are doing traditional type of mining. This is what we really call ourselves. We're hard rock, underground, small vein, traditional gold miners. I know that's a mouthful, but that kind of describes the type of mining that is indigenous to this particular region.
This is the main portal.
And what you see there is the portal. A lot of names in mining: portal, adit, drift, level, winds, many, many different names. Here's a locomotive coming out very quickly. Now we're loading the powder.
This is dynamite.
This is dynamite. The sequence of underground mining is basically drill, blast, and muck. That's what we do. Drill a hole, blast it out, muck out, throw the rock, either mine waste or ore, and go back and do it again. And
looks like dangerous work.
It is dangerous work, and it's one of the great jobs that everyone knows it's dangerous. Therefore, we take extra precautions, a lot of education, experience, and properly equipped, so our accident rates and the ultimate death is very infrequent in these mines. They're considered also non-gassy. This is a typical thing that going in and tag into a mine where all the miners are tag in and tag out, so everybody knows exactly where they are. Yes, every round is like a big 4th of July.
And now we're coming back to the samples right in front of us. And I know every piece has a story. Mike is in unloading and setting them up, treated them like children. So I think we're going to take a lot of time to look over and talk about what you have in front of us.
Well, one of the things, I mean, it's true, we've never assembled this collection. We've been, since 1991 or 92, really, we've been saving very, very special pieces that have come out of the mine for one reason or another, not necessarily for their value, but for their uniqueness. And when we have what's called in mining the provenance of mining, we know, I can't recite this by memory, but every time we get a specimen, we keep a record of the date it was found and the location it was found. And each one of these specimens, as we call them, has a number and is properly identified. So
your miners are really collectors. They're really looking out for unique pieces as they go about their work?
They are, because the ultimate, while this is a very unique collection, the ultimate revenue that comes for the 16:1 comes in the form of jewelry, which would be, especially in Nevada City and Grass Valley, there's many of the people that make this type of jewelry and sell it in the stores. We call that slab. I didn't really bring any of the slabbing here. This is more of a real specimen collection. Although two things that we've done that I think are important. We've tried to depict history with the quartz and gold itself. And one of the greatest places to start is probably with these. I'll drag you over to this table first, get away from that big whopper, to the pieces that are in the front, the golden trout, the golden eagle, and the California bear, also with a carving of the state of California made out of a quartz and gold slab.
So I had the impression these were on exhibit elsewhere.
This, yes, they have been. We've been to the state capitol. We were invited when down at one time. I think it was the sesquicentennial, now that I remember. You're taxing my memory here. But we were part of actually the only mining company, one of the businesses that were a golden partner in the California sesquicentennial. So we took a lot of the carvings and we're down in the governor's office during that period of time. So that would have been, what, 150 years? So it would have been, what's that? 1998, 99, and 2000. So 3 years, they had this great 3-year celebration, and we were participants in that.
So is there one person or a number of individuals who are responsible for the carvings?
There are 5 different carvers that are here represented today on these two tables. One, Francis Musner, lives up in Greenville. He carved these 3 carvings right in this area. Actually, one of my friend and first partner in gold mining, Tom Woodfin, carved the California specimen right there quite a while ago. So those are from Francis. If we move a little bit closer to the tables, just generally, the figurines that are here, the large ones that are in the foreground on this side, and then, of course, if in the center, it's hard to see, but in this area where there are 4 musicians and 2 dogs.
I can pick some of these up.
Can you get those up? Well,
sure.
You could look at some of those. That's our jug band. That's a rock and roll jug band. And one's playing drums, one's playing a washboard, a banjo, and I can't remember what the other one's playing, Lou. But the 2 little carvings in front are dogs. One's quite intent in listening to the music. The other one is covering its ears. This little guy right down here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
And these were carved by Buddy Miller. He lives around Sonora, in the Sonora area. The sphere.
This is amazing. You wouldn't believe how heavy this is. And it's not just rock. It's got quite a bit of gold in it.
Well, this was the first carving that we really did. And so this was our number 1. And it started out a rock, as larger than any of the rocks that you see on the table. It was about this big. And what I gave it to the man to start to carve it, and I call back a month later and I say, "How you doing on it?" And he said, "Well, I haven't cut it yet." And he said, "Well," I call back a month later, "How's it coming?" "I haven't been able to cut it yet." And I said, "Look, just because there was $60,000 worth of gold in it. That's why. Because the way we knew that is that we water weigh everything. If you remember Archimedes in the bathtub.
In the bathtub.
Well, that's how we know how much gold is in all of these rocks here. We know the specific gravity of the quartz, the specific gravity of the gold, and what we do is we can calculate to find out how much gold is in each one of these rocks. So I just said, well, just if you make a mistake, we'll get it all back and we'll crush it up.
Right.
So finally he got this carving done, and it's it's probably the only
beautiful.
sphere like it.
It's beautiful. And by the way, Mike has evaluated the value of each of these pieces, and this one is?
This one was, it was $75,000 before the price of gold went up.
Oh.
I know.
That's pretty amazing. $75,000 until recently, and so it's improved in value.
Yeah, the price, we had just reevaluated our inventory based upon the ounces times the increase in price that's occurred over the last, say, 3 or 4 months.
So gold is still a good investment.
I think gold has always been a good investment, but there's a lot of other tangible and intangible reasons for either taking an investment or being involved in gold mining.
Right. There's more more than just the gold. There's sentiment. There's beauty, artistry with it.
We tried to bring that out in the carvings and the appreciation. I think as you look at some of these pieces, that they offer really an uplift. It's nature or God's art, however you want to describe it. It's something, for example, this piece over here, this one that has a nice spot on this little pedestal.
And this is called?
This is called the Crystal Palace. This is one of our, I don't know the best way to do this, Lou.
So
leave it there or
when you find a piece like this, I would assume that there's is there a rock around it that you have to sort of chew out of it? Or is this how it's found in this pristine?
Well, they're all encased, their home is in the white quartz, but this particular piece is highly crystalline. So there's quite a few, all of the reflections that you can see in this piece are because of the reflection of the crystals. So what we did when we first started admiring and appreciating these specimens, it was a learning experience for us as well, because we really had not ever really done this before. For example, there's no natural acid that will attack gold. So so you can make an acid called hydrofluoric, which is a mixture of two acids to melt to dissolve gold. But what we have done is taken some of these, like the Whopper, which we can look at later, and we have dissolved the quartz away. We did that, and then we stopped doing that because it actually would alter the effects of the gold. So what we've done is we've actually chipped away with Dremel tools and old dental tools, things like that, and start chipping out the quartz around this particular piece. And that's one of the stars of our particular piece.
I hope we can come back to this piece, because I'm not sure how much of it you can pick up on the camera. It's pretty exceptional in the way you have it displayed.
Yeah,
if we can get a close-up of that.
Well, photographers, whether you're in a television studio or whether it's a photographer taking pictures, this is always a challenge. Photographing gold is a challenge because of the light reflection, and especially when you have the balance of the white and the gold and all of the reflection coming in. It's really a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, I can see that. The difference between what we see with our eyes and what's on view and camera now is considerably different. You don't get the subtleties. You don't get the depth. What is this piece now?
Now this one is called the Mini Whopper. The Mini Whopper, if you look at it compared to the Whopper, which you'll see that there's something of a resemblance. But this one, if you'll notice, the color is slightly altered. This is an example of one of the pieces that we etched out with the acid.
I see.
And you know, when we talk about gold at the 16:1, we speak of gold in a generic, like gold. But what you see is 22 karat gold. Pure gold is 24 karat. And when this was deposited about 150 million years ago, it was deposited in a natural amalgam of gold and silver. So what we see here is about 84% gold and about 15% silver in its natural state. And that's what gives it its luster and its uniqueness. So what I think happens sometimes with this piece is that it might attack the silver just a little bit, and we've become kind of purists in the way we treat the specimens.
That's great.
So we're always trying to find ways to improve our enhancing them without altering them.
Well, and from what I understand, the 16:1 mine is open to the public. Is that true?
It's true. Well, also we're a public corporation. It's the oldest American mining corporation. It was on the Pacific Stock Exchange until the stock exchange dissolved. But we are a public corporation, and we have 1,300 shareholders, board of directors, and they're scattered across the United States. But as far as people coming in, we've worked in agreement with the Underground Gold Miners Museum Underground Gold Miners of California Museum, which is up in Allegheny. It has a wonderful drill collection, really a great drill collection. But they will give tours of the mine.
Great.
So it's a great experience to go underground.
We've got
a real working mine.
I don't want to take you away from this, but I also know you're doing some work at the Empire Mine.
Yeah, as myself, I have a contractor's license, and I'm doing that Addit project that was about 18 years in the making, and here we are towards the end of March, and we have about 2 more months, and we will have completed that first phase of that job.
And this is doing the shaft that will be the public will be able to visit?
Yes, it's a crosscut, an adit going from the outside, so people will be able to actually walk or ride into the shaft and view the shaft and get a sense right here in Grass Valley of what it's like to be underground. It's a good, very good project. While we're over here, I want to show you. I'm going to put my glasses on for this one, Lou. But this, again, I'm not sure I don't know how this will come out on a camera. Like I said, every piece that's here is here because it's a unique piece, and that's why it's here. This particular piece, do you know the difference between placer gold and lode gold?
No.
You don't?
Well, placer mining is the pan mining, and lode gold would be the tunneled.
Good.
Okay.
Placer means basically that it's moved from its point of origin.
Ah.
All of this gold here is located at its point of origin. It wasn't moved and then found in a stream. But we found this particular piece. We said, look at this. And what happened was, and this is all formed 150 million years ago, but the top part has been placered because it was in an old watercourse. That's why you can see a little bit of the rust.
Uh-huh.
And this has been all rounded by a watercourse. But yet the backside, right in here, is still with the very, very sharp angular pieces of a lode mine. So this turned out to be a very, very special piece for us, and that's why it's in the collection.
It's beautiful. If people want to see this, how do they get a chance to see it firsthand?
You've just given them a chance. I mean, this is not something that we just keep hanging around. We have it stored.
So you really don't have it on display.
No, we've taken individual pieces before down to gold shows. We had the Whopper, which of course this brings smiles to most everyone's face. Well, I should let you do it.
Well, okay.
I mean, you're the host.
All right. This is the most valuable thing aside from my children and my wife, this is the most valuable thing I've held in my hands.
Well, me too, I would have to say. And it does have an intrinsic value beyond the crush price. But we found this in 1994. And we found it in August, just before we were coming down to the Nevada County Fair. We attended the Nevada County Fair, so it was all encased in the white, just similar to this rock, like it is right here. But I remember some of the old guys that would be standing back there looking at this, and they, "What is that?" And we say, "Well, it's gold in there." And they say, "Nah, it's not gold." And just say, "Well, hold it." And once you hold it, then you know that it's gold.
What do you think this weighs?
Well, I know exactly what it weighs. I don't think it. No, it weighs 14 pounds, and there's 141 ounces of gold that's in it.
Okay. Well, it feels a lot more than 14 pounds, let me tell you, after you've been holding it a while.
Well, it's quite a unique piece. I'll let you off the hook just for a minute.
Okay. Wow, look at the back of that.
Sometimes it reminds me of a giant tooth. But what happened when the miners were doing this, that you can see this little saddle right here, I don't know. But that's where the drill actually drilled into this particular solid rock. It drilled right through there and then stopped right here. So when the miners were drilling this particular round, there's another term called cornflakes. And what happens is the motion of the drill kind of amalgamates the ground up gold, and it spits it out as what we call cornflakes. So anytime the miners drill into cornflakes, they know they're into something really
hit
hot.
Gold.
And they can't wait for the morning to come after they set it off.
So this is really hitting a vein, a real.
Well, this as you can see, by the thickness of that it is really a vein of gold.
Right.
And then the quartz was on both sides of it.
Fantastic here. All right. And we don't have a lot of time, so I want to be sure that you hit the most important pieces. I know they're all They all have stories.
Well, let's see. The dragon. We have several dragons. This is probably the most unique dragon. And we had an offer, I can't remember what it was. We had like a $25,000 offer for this, and we had a lot of money at the time, so we didn't take it. Does it kind of look like a dragon?
Yeah, it does. It does. Very
And again,
much.
nothing. This is exactly the way it's come out of the mine, just like this. Now we had a local fella named Martin who carved a dragon, and that was his dragon, and he called this a howling dragon. So I don't know if you can see it howling or not. Kind of up there.
Yeah.
But you can feel how soft, I mean, the shine and all of that and the carving of that.
So how is this done when you're carving quartz and gold? What kind of tools do you use?
Well, he was kind of a purist, and he wanted to use special tools that he made. He didn't want to use like Dremel tools, electrical tools. He had a mission in life, and he spent a lot of hours working on this particular piece, which of course made it so it wasn't. He put way too much time into it. But I think most of the guys would use power saws and Dremel drills, and then they have one of the secrets is getting the shine to both the quartz and the gold, because the properties are so different. You have something that's very malleable to something that's very hard.
So it's not just anybody that can do this.
No, but I think anybody can learn. I think if you're a craftsman or an artist, this would be a great medium to work in. There's a piece over here that just is so different from the others. I'm trying to find it. It looks like a shark's jaw.
It's in the front.
It's someplace, it's rather large. This one right here, I think, Lou. And this one, again, this one is so different because there's a lot of crystals. And there's a number of quartz crystals. And especially in Nevada County, there's a body of people that are actually aware of the powers of crystals. So here we're very blessed by having both crystals and gold, which is a unique combination. We have a little specimen that we dearly love, all of us, that's so small that we tried to show it on the camera, but it's our favorite specimen. And it maybe has, $10 worth of gold in it. And we put like a $5,000 price on it one time. We're hoping that nobody would buy it. But it's a beautiful, beautiful quartz crystal and a very, very nice gold crystal all in one piece connected. So it, to get the idea of the thickness of what it looks like. Also, we haven't looked at a piece like this. We'll say that, I'll hand it to you, that is combined with arsenopyrite. This is another one of the trace minerals that goes along with the gold. It's a heavy metal that is found many, many times either contiguous with the gold or just a little bit before you get to a gold. Well, these are, trying to think of what
How about this one here?
Oh, that's a kind of a crazy one. I think the guy was that carved this. It was all flames. And do you see on the back? Did he give that in underneath? It's. I think this was. I think this might have been Minerva coming from the ashes. Or the Phoenix. No, I think it was this the Phoenix.
There
it goes. There it goes.
It's Phoenix.
So I was an SAE in college. So I mean, Minerva and the Phoenix were two of our.
Phoenix.
That's what it was. I forgot. I hadn't looked at this for a long time. So he wanted.
You can see that there's a phoenix right there.
But he wanted to depict the whole mining and the industry as,
Rising
always
from the
life,
ashes.
rising from the ashes, which gold mining has done time and time again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's what it is. I've forgotten about what that one is exactly. This is an interesting geological piece. If we had geologists in the audience, they would really like this piece because we call that slickenside, and that was the gold had found itself between two plates, and the plates were actually rubbing back and forth, and they kind of smeared that gold right across the plate. And this whole Allegheny district, which is just 35 miles from Nevada City, but as the crow flies, maybe only 8 miles, is considered in the northern mines. And it's a very, very unique mining district, very different from any mining district in California.
Well, I'm just beginning my education, and when Mike came in, first time he came into the show, it sort of clicked an idea in my head that we are known for gold mining and quite a history in our community, and yet how much have we recorded of it? So I want to give a plug to the TV station that we're going to be starting a history, gold rush, gold mining history from that time forward. We want old timers, we want people who've got stories to tell about gold mining and the families that have been involved. We want them to come in. We want to start recording this and establishing an archive, a mining archive, gold mining archive, a history of our communities, all the way up to Allegheny.
Well, it's a very worthwhile project because Foots Crossing Road is one of the most unusual roads in the United States. I would say was built by a person to transport the gold and the supplies from Nevada City to Allegheny. So even though we're in Sierra County, there's a great connection between us both.
Right. We have a tremendous amount of history to explore, and this is the first of many shows actually that will begin to record it, and hopefully Mike will get out to the mine and see a little bit more of it firsthand. I want to thank you for bringing all this in and letting us have a peek at what the treasures are that you've collected. Anything else you want to end with?
Oh, no, I don't think so, Lou. I hate to end. It's a great topic. It's one that probably, I agree with you so much for the TV station. I really was not aware of the work that was being done at the TV station. I think it's a great positive thing. We need education. We need factual education and destroy some of the myths or misperceptions about mining.
And we need to record it before it disappears.
Yeah, it's a great blue-collar job.
It looks like it's a great job. And so thanks again. It was
you're
really
welcome.
a pleasure getting to
All
see
right,
you again.
thank you.
And regards to your family.
Thank you.